This game recap is brought to you by Manscaped's Foot Duster Foot Deodorant. Say goodbye to stinky foot funk with this essential deodorant spray. Head over to manscaped.com and use the promo code SACCITY for 20% off and free worldwide shipping. The Foot Duster Foot Deodorant by Manscaped. The best protection any place below the waist.
Next game on our list, it's the Carolina Panthers falling to the New York Giants 19-16, and the New York Giants are now 2-0. Baker Mayfield in this game, 14 of 29, 145 yards, and 2 touchdowns, or 1 touchdown in this game. This game, I don't think, was so much about the Baker Mayfield not being able to get the job done. I think Baker Mayfield got let down in this game by his wide receivers. He didn't play good. He did not play good. But there were a lot.
Like Bailey.
No, I'm not saying he was good in this game. I thought there were a lot of missed throws by him. But I think there is something to be said about all the drops that he had from his receivers. But either way, the Giants win this game. What were your takeaways from both sides of the ball here?
Well, I'll go right to where I want to go. Baker Mayfield's not it, man. All the high hopes we had for him, he gets the Browns, who just gave up 4 touchdowns to Joe Flacco and came back and won that game and dominated him. And the Giants, who we all thought was going to be one of the worst football teams. Shout out to their defense, because 2 weeks in a row now, the Giants defense has played really well. But it's also been against 2 quarterbacks that we've had question marks about, Ryan Tannehill and now Baker Mayfield. Back-to-back weeks, Baker Mayfield, QBR this week, 18. Or 16, I'm sorry.
Not good.
And we can talk about maybe the drop passes, but guess what? Drop passes don't go into QBR. Drop passes don't go on a quarterback. It's how effective and efficient you are as a quarterback. Are you making throws on time? Are you making throws to the appropriate receiver when you're supposed to be making it? And then putting that in a spot where they're able to catch the football. 14 of 29 against a team that just lost James Bradbury. Baker Mayfield has to be better. But also, in turn with Baker Mayfield, I now am convinced Baker Mayfield needs everything to be perfect around him. Everything around him. And if everything's perfect around him, then Baker's fine. But everything's not perfect in Carolina. Number one, the coach isn't perfect. Christian McCaffrey is still not used enough. And I get you don't want to get him injured, but when he gets the ball, good things happen. When he doesn't get the ball, bad things happen. This is what I said. This team is predicated on Christian McCaffrey. The second thing is the coaching is, from a game plan perspective, from the lack of discipline, it's just not good. The play calling is terrible. And I mean terrible. Situational play calling is bad. And I usually don't like to judge NFL coaches on play calling because they're a lot smarter than I am. But watching him compared to everybody else, Matt Rule has a problem. And Matt Rule may not be ready for this NFL level. The Panthers are in trouble. The team that I thought with Baker Mayfield could make some noise. Now I'm telling you, they can't make any noise. They're not ready. Baker Mayfield is not it. Matt Rule is not it. And he doesn't have a hold on what they want to do offensively. And in turn, when your defense holds a team to 19 points, you can't score enough to win. Like,
I think the biggest thing with the Panthers here as well that needs to be talked about is they only converted 2 of their 12 third downs, and both teams in this game, really, they were 2 of 7 in the red zone. Like, you have to get the job done. It comes down to play calling, and it comes down to Baker Mayfield making plays. A little bit of both. Obviously, the drops do matter, but you want to see these guys take control and lead these teams into victories, and that's just not what we're seeing. On the Giants, they start 2-0 for the first time since 2016. The last time they did start 2-0, they made the playoffs, though. Just to throw that out there, they made the playoffs.
They might be the biggest fool's gold right now in the NFL.
Are they? Tell me about it.
And again, I first of all, shout out Brian Dable for coming in there and getting wins. Like, wins matter in the NFL. So shout out to him for going and getting wins. But that defense has played really, really well. Martindale has come in and kind of left where Patrick Graham, or kind of picked up where Patrick Graham left. They're playing really well. The loss of Leonard Williams could hurt, but they beat the Tennessee Titans and the Carolina Panthers. And we have been on this show talking about the Tennessee Titans as not being explosive offensively, having struggles this year. We saw that in week 1. Carolina, we weren't sure about the quarterback, struggling to create explosive plays in week 2. So the Giants get fortunate with 2 nice wins. I think they get fortunate in week 3 too. They get to play the Dallas Cowboys, who now is with the backup quarterback. Could the Giants beat the Cowboys? Absolutely, they could. That is an absolute possibility with that offense. They could beat the Dallas Cowboys in a very similar game to weeks 1 and 2. It's going to be low scoring because both defenses are really good, and it's going to be whoever creates more plays. But I think over the course of the season, you will see when the Giants' schedule starts to pick up and play some of these teams, you will see how outmatched they actually are. And if Saquon Barkley doesn't go crazy, like he didn't go crazy yesterday, they're going to struggle to score points.
I think that's something that the Giants are still doing. We talked about it before with these teams just not doing too much. I mean, they're still giving Saquon Barkley the work. Like that's still what we're seeing from the Giants. They're still giving him the work. My player of the game, though, I went a little different here for the player of the game for this game because I didn't know, no one really like jumped off the page to me. Saquon had a good game, but I didn't want to give Saquon back-to-back weeks of player of the game because it's just obvious at this point, getting repetitive. So I want to give a shout out and give my player of the game award here to Richie James, the wide receiver for the New York Giants. I know, just hear me out here. And this is because last week he led the team in targets. This week he leads the team in targets. 5 receptions, 51 yards, no touchdowns. He's becoming the lead receiver on this team, with a team that went out and paid Kenny Golladay, that drafted highly, invested highly in Sterling Shepard and all the other other guys that they have on this team. Richie James is the guy that has been stepping up. He was undrafted, he was undrafted. This guy's he's 5'9", $185. So like the odds are against Richie James here, and he is becoming the number 1 wide receiver for this New York Giants team, and He is.
He's not the number 1 wide receiver. Sterling Shepard's the number 1 wide receiver. What are you talking about?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Last week against the Tennessee Titans, it was Richie James had 6 targets. Sterling Shepard had 4 targets. This week against the Carolina Panthers, Richie James has 6 targets, and Sterling Shepard had 10 targets. Sorry. But Richie James did a lot more with his targets than Sterling Shepard did with his targets. So, like,
you don't just get to be the number 1 receiver because you have a better day in the receiving yardage category.
You're more efficient.
That's not what makes you a number 1 wide receiver. Sterling Shepard has been the number 1 wide receiver through 2 weeks for this team. And I'm not knocking you, Richie James pick. That's fine if you want to pick him as player of the game. Just be careful what you say.
No, I will not. I will use my words wildly. I mean, last week Sterling Shepard, what? 2 receptions. Okay, he had 71 yards in a tutty last week. I guess that was the thing. Richie James, player of the game here.